Hi guys, I wanted to give you a little demo on how to do your Patronus animal portrait. These are going to be realistic and they're going to require your patience and your attention, and you really have to use lots of details on this. The first thing you're going to want to do is go on to those websites and find out what your animal is. I would prefer that you did not just choose an animal that you like. I would rather you take one of these quizzes. It makes it a little bit more objective, so you're not just picking favorites. I have done multiple tests, and my Patronus is a wolf. One of them was a coyote. I've gotten wolf multiple times, so I'm just gonna go with wolf. So you will need your sketchbook. I'm using fairly thick paper. This is a mixed media. That means I can do watercolor, I can do markers, I can do colored pencils, I can even do paint. And I love this stuff. So I'm going to draw an outline of my wolf onto this paper. I want you to remember the elements and principles of design and art. When you are placing your animal onto the paper, I want you to think about where you want to place it. You don't want to do something completely in the middle. Remember, I'm telling you guys about how you want to kind of make it a little bit off kilter, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I also want you to draw very lightly. Remember to draw lightly because you will erase some of these lines. Depending on if you do this with colored pencils or markers or paint, it's going to depend on how dark your lines are. So here we go. So now that I have the basic drawing on there, I'm going to decide what materials I'm going to use. And this could very well be determined on what materials you have at your house. If you only have pencils and pens at your house, excuse me, I want you to be focused on lines, okay? Because you can only kind of make, especially if you're using pen, you can only make one kind of value, right? You only have limited capabilities. So remember, when your lines are really close together, they will form a darker value. When your lines are further spaced apart, they will give you a lighter value. Remember the squint test? When you squint your eyes and you can see which values are which. This goes for the pen, if you're going to use a pen as well. So I have already done a drawing on some charcoal paper. Okay, it's the same one that I drew. So I'm going to try to use some charcoal or pastels, I guess. I have different colored pastels. Again, you can use watercolors, you can use markers, you can use crayons, you can use pretty much anything that you have at your house. The first thing I want you to do after you have your drawing on your paper is to, of course, get your materials and then think about a background color that you want to use or a background image, okay? Always start with the background. For me, I think I'm going to make the background very muted and mild because I want my wolf to stand out. When you use colored pieces of paper like this, it really helps your image pop. So when I go to use whites and yellows and grays and stuff like that on this paper, it really makes the image pop, and it gives it emphasis, okay? I will show you how that looks like. I have some really nice pastels. They're the same ones that we have used at school before. They look like this. Okay. Again, use what you have, all right? So right now I'm pulling up a reference picture. Okay, that's what I'm going to be using to reference my colors. Okay, and the shape. All right, so if you can see, there is a lot of gray in there. There's some browns. There's even a little orange and white and stuff like that. Okay, hope you guys can see that. The background is kind of green and brown. So what I'm going to do is just lightly, very lightly, go into the background and just kind of go around my image. Okay. I'll do a lot more of the background when I get the wolf in there, but right now I'm just kind of outlining him a little bit, just so I know where he goes. Doing a lot of smudging as well. Okay, so this just kind of gives me a basic kind of, again, a basic outline for what I'm doing. Okay. So now I want to go in with light colors because you can always make things darker. You can't necessarily make them lighter. So I have white. I also have like a cream color as well, okay, that I am going to use because you don't want just pure white. So I'm gonna go in and kind of shape out his face a little bit. He's got white on his nose and all that stuff. Just kind of giving what's called color blocking. I'm going in and I'm kind of blocking the colors. Now I'm using chalk, which is very layerable, okay? If you were to use paints, okay, you would just want to be careful and go lightly, okay? So again, I'm just gonna kind of block in some of his color. He's got color on his chest. He's got some on the top of his ear. Sort of on his body. I'm going to go in with that not white color. Just plugging in where I see white. Okay. Just plugging in where I see white. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with kind of a lighter orange or like a burnt sienna kind of color. Okay. So I've done a lot of the whites. Okay, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to slowly start plugging in some of these areas. hold on, sorry, right here as well and right under here, okay, with this color, okay. Top of his nose kind of has it. His lower jaw has it. He's got a lot of fluff down here that's got it. Again, this is called color blocking. I'm just blocking in color, and then I'll go back in and do some detail work. This is gray. Here's a darker gray, just comparatively. Okay, this one's lighter, this one's darker. He has a little dark spot around his eye. And in his ear. I'm going to come in with a darker brown now. Kind of just hit some of these spots with that dark brown. There's kind of a shadow underneath his ear, so I'm going to hit that. And there is black, but I want you to be very mindful of black, okay? Because black is very rich, okay? So I don't really want to do some of these black areas fully. I'm just very lightly kind of coming in here and putting a little color on there and then mixing it in with the colors that are already there, okay? Okay, real light, okay? And even that is really dark, okay? I don't want you to worry about things like the tooth and the nose and the eyes and all the little speckles and stuff until you are a little bit closer to being ready to add details, okay? So again, this is called color blocking, okay? I'm just blocking some color in. Just blocking it in. We want layers, okay? layers are what is going to give us the effect of more three-dimensionality and more realism, which is what we are going for, okay? I want you to think about when you want something to be green, for instance. Don't just use the color green. Use green and light green and a dark green or a sap green. Don't just use the brightest green that you can find. The more greens that you can add in to whatever is green is really going to make that pop for you guys. So more to come, all right? Go slow, reach out with any questions, and I will show you the finished piece and more process as we go along. So I hope you guys are starting this. I miss you. See ya.